Hello, it's me, Jessica. I'm back with another live video. It is Saturday, yay. I am so ready for the long Martin Luther King holiday weekend. I am going to be talking about in this video a couple of different questions that I've gotten. Actually, one of them is from a friend, girl I used to go to high school with. So I'm gonna have that in here. And then as the title suggests, I'm also gonna talk about gaps in employment and some of the different questions that we get. I am going to be using Reddit. Let me look at something real quick so I can pull Reddit up so I can have those questions, because you guys know I like to look at Reddit a lot to find out what type of questions are trending and what people are really looking for. So I'm going to cover gaps in employment, and then what was the other one? Oh, and job hopping. So job hopping was the other one that I will cover in this call. And then if I see something that jumps out at me on Reddit, I will also take a look at that. So I'm hoping this broadcast plays back really well. So if you have questions about specifically job hopping and how to kind of approach that when you're in an interview, and then also gaps in employment, this video will be something you'll want to watch or rewatch. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cover the question that I got from my high school friend. So let me look at this, and I'm hoping that I am live in here. One time I was on here and I was not live. So let me see here. Okay, so this question is about, tell me a time, and this is a behavior-based question. I can tell because it's saying tell me a time or give a time when. It's very specific. So it's asking for a specific time when you actually did something in the past. So this says, tell us a time when you had a disagreement with a coworker and how you handled it. So the first thing I want to approach this with is, with this type of behavior-based question, you are definitely wanting to make sure you understand how to approach behavior-based questions. So I'm going to mention one technique you can use. Let me let her know I'm live. Let me do that real quick. I swear, sometimes on my phone, I'm just like, what in the world? My phone just had an update, so I'm like, what is this? Okay. Let me look for my link. Here we go. Okay. So I just sent that to her. So with this question, again, it's a behavior-based question. So normally how I like to pose these type of questions is with using a specific method called STAR. So it's STAR. I'll put that in comments. Oh, hey, everybody. Hey, this is Latanya. Hey, Latanya. Hi, my hypo fro. Hey, how are you? Ben, hello. Hey, Silos. And you're saying hi to Silos. Hey. Okay. So with this, I like to use the STAR method. So what this method is it takes you through how to best tell a story during an interview. So the S stands for situation. So you want to set up the stage. You want to set up what the situation was. Then you want to talk about any task involved, like what needed to get done. The A stands for action. So it's all the specific things you did. Using the word I see where a lot of people mess up is they say, yeah, you would do, or we did, and they don't really ever say what they as a person did. And then you just want to sum it up with the result. So it's really just telling a specific story. So with this question, again, tell us the time when you handled a disagreement with a coworker and how you handled it. So here's my advice with this type of question. Definitely don't look at it always in a negative. It's not necessarily when you had a fight with a coworker or you guys are really arguing or something like that. It just means you have a disagreement. So for example, for me, I could come up with the scenario of, hey, me and a coworker were working on a training module together, and a part of that module, we needed to figure out what date the specific trainings needed to be. So we needed to figure out when we were going to have this training. So that's the situation. The task involved, we really have to determine what were going to be the dates for this. She had in mind she wanted it to be in Q1. I wanted it to be in Q4 because of X, Y, and Z reason. And she had these X, Y, and Z reasons. So that's kind of the task. That's what needed to be done. And this is the reasoning behind it. The action that comes in is specifically what I did. So what I did in this scenario is I really wanted to understand her point of view. And so I scheduled a meeting with just the two of us so that we could look at the calendar and really dig into, the factors, the kind of the pros and cons of each scenario, having in Q1 or having in Q4. By the way, I'm making this up. And so we talked through that. We really went through, looked at the pros and cons. I actually drew out on a whiteboard, listed out all the advantages, and listened to her. And at the end of the day, we actually settled on a completely different quarter. We actually determined that Q2 was going to be more beneficial because of our availabilities and also some things that the company goals that they were going to have. So what ended up happening is we did actually come to a conclusion that it would be Q3. Everything worked out really well. The trainings happened. We got really good feedback about those trainings. And what I took away from that scenario is just to make sure I'm constantly having good communication with others. And within a disagreement, there can always be compromise. Bam, done. So it's a positive takeaway. It's not like, oh my gosh, we were fighting and she wanted this and I wanted this and we were yelling and screaming. It's literally how you deal with those type of scenarios where maybe someone wants X and you want Y, and kind of bridging that gap. So the other question that came up, and I gotta grab it, I gotta look at my text messages because she sent this to me last night. Let me see here. Oh, Celos is saying hey to everybody in the chat. Hey. Let me see here. So the other question she had was how to answer this question. Let me throw this in here. This one. Okay, so how to address the question about what makes you qualified for the job, right? So, you definitely want to make sure you're standing out from the crowd and able to say, like, this is why you should hire me. This one just goes back to understanding the job criteria, like knowing what the basic qualifications are for that job, which you should have known before you even applied for it, how you meet those qualifications, and then also any plus factors that you bring that are important to the company or to the hiring manager, whoever it is you're talking to, right? So you want to be able to have that prepared. So you'd have like your notebook or whatever you use for your notes, and you would actually have that already during that interview. So you already know going in, this is why I'm a great candidate for the job. Here's the additional things that I bring. And then if there's anything else mentioned during that conversation, that interview, that you have additional skills for and they're looking for, bring that up too. Note that down to bring it up. And you want to wrap out the interview, not only addressing that question, but wrap out the interview with those points. Like, here's how I can meet your needs. This is why I'm qualified. Is there any other additional information you need from me to help you make a decision about how you want to move forward? So that's how you would pose or answer those two questions. Silos is making some, I don't know what that means. YouTube. Hey, Edward, nice to see you. You're saying hi to everybody. Oh, big news before I get into the other questions. So I just hit 1,000 subscribers, guys. So I am super happy about that. Like, I was thinking, I was kind of right in that 900s mark, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it to 1,000. And I just got 1,000 subscribers. It was, I want to say maybe 4 days ago, 3 or 4 days ago. And so, yeah, so appreciate you all being here and being, loyal subscribers. Definitely Edward Smart, you've been here from pretty much almost day one, I want to say, or been here for a very long time. So appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. Hey, my turn. Welcome. Nice to see you. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know if I have any moderators in here today. Let me see. I don't know. I don't know if I have any mods in here. I think I've only got a couple. Hey, King of Kills. Oh, that's cool. You shared me with your brother. Is he looking for a job right now? Nice to see you. All right, let me see what other questions I had here in my toolbox. Oh, question and title, how to handle gaps in employment. So this is always a tricky one. I've talked to a lot of folks where maybe they took a year off or they were laid off or terminated, and it just took them a long time to find a job. And obviously with this pandemic, it's taken some folks a longer time to find something in their niche. Like, for example, in oil and gas. I've talked to multiple people in oil and gas living in Houston, for example, where it took them longer to find something. So addressing gaps in employment is really about making sure that you know the reasons why you had the gaps. So for example, with this pandemic, everyone understands. I don't think anyone's going to dig in and say like, well, what happened? Why didn't you find a job in 6 months? Just being able to say like, hey, I had to leave this company. They had financial issues, or I needed to leave to take care of my family at home, or I had whatever situation. So just be ready to talk about that. This is probably the only time I recommend having either an objective or summary in your resume where you can talk about anything that may come up in your resume, or having a cover letter to answer questions that may come up in your resume, like a gap in employment. So you can definitely do that. Again, I'm not a huge fan of cover letters. I don't look at them often, but if I do see gaps in employment and someone has a cover letter, I will take a look at that. But then during the interview, how you would address it is just being ready to talk about it, not giving a ton of detail, but just saying like, hey, this is what happened. This is what I'm looking for moving forward. And then this is why I'm interested in this role in this company. So always bringing it back to the job, the company, and, your interest and what you can bring to them. So that's how I would approach gaps in employment. I will say I haven't really had personally a ton of gaps in employment. I was laid off during a period, but then I got a job like in 3 weeks. So just because networking, lots of networking, and I'm a recruiter, so I know how to cater my resume and things to find a job quicker. But for people that have a gap in employment, just be ready to talk about it, have some notes prepared. The question is coming, so that's the good thing. So just be ready. Now, if you had gaps in employment because you were terminated for any reason, you should probably figure out, okay, were you terminated for cause, or was it just because the company, you maybe had differences with management or whatever? I wouldn't talk about that. I would just literally say, the company terminated me. It wasn't for cause. Like for issues with management, that's not like a for cause reason. That's just, they said you had to go. Now, if it's for cause, you may run into some issues with the background check. So you may want to bring that up earlier, depending on what it is, just because, again, if you know that they will do background checks, you don't want to have issues where they give you the job, then you get all excited and you're ready, you're doing the paperwork, but then you don't complete that background check, and then you're back at square one. So, and then it sometimes can bring up an issue of trust. So that would be my advice for someone that has had a termination for cause. And when I say for cause, I mean you violated a company policy. Like you were caught drinking on the job, or you were caught getting high in the, company bathroom or something. I don't know, something like that. So let's see here. King of Kill saying, now we're talking about race and colors. Oh yeah, I am going to be having more discussions about that, King of Kill. So yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Let me see. Doing good. How about yourself? I'm doing well. It's a chill Saturday. Hey, JMJ23. Nice to see you. And Edward says gaps in employment always raise a red flag. I have to find out what the reason. Yes, definitely. And if it's a longer gap, if it's like a month gap, that could have just been a transition to one job to another, right? So that's okay. But if it's something where you've got like 3 months to 6 months, we're definitely going to really dig in and ask what was going on. If you can just have a really clear, concise answer. Okay, you don't have to go into specifics. It doesn't have to be this long drawn out. Yeah, I was fired because this and that, and the company had these issues, and the company did that, and this manager was this way. Definitely don't put the company in a bad light. That can be seen as a red flag for for us too. And there are some people, I've had conversations with folks where they are just dragging their company, and it's like it could all be true. But what happens when you start talking negatively about someone or a company, it makes you look bad in the end. So definitely don't want anyone doing that. Great comment, Edward. Let me see here. Okay, what was the other one that I had? Oh, job hopping. So Edward, you probably have thoughts on this too. Job hoppers. So these are the folks that they had one job for a year, then they left. They had another job for maybe 6 months, then they left. They had another job, and then maybe they stayed close to a year. So, people that are just constantly moving, they can't seem to find longevity with any one company. Now, I think for younger folks, like if you're just leaving college, or maybe you're a few years out of college, this is not looked at as heavily. However, if you're someone with maybe 4 or 5 years of experience or more, job hopping, like seeing that consistently, can be definitely a red flag. And I think the only case where we don't really dig in too much is if you've been a consultant. Like if you've been with one consulting company and you just shift to different clients, we know how that works. That's okay. I'm not talking about that type of job hopping, because typically you're going to be with one consulting firm and you're working on multiple clients. But if you are literally, you've over the past 10 years, you've had this year, I was at Exxon Mobil, and then I went to Facebook, and then I went to Google, and then I went there's something up. Like, we need to find out what is going on, because in our mind, if we're seeing your resume and we see all that job hopping, we are thinking, okay, is this person getting fired or terminated for some type of reason? Is this person just getting into a company to moving to just to kind of raise their salary or something? Like, are they just really not looking for a long-term job? Because that's what most companies are looking for. Most companies want you to stay with them, at least a year, 2 years. Ideally, they want to be able to groom you or move you through the company, whether it's upward promotions or working on different teams. They want to see you really grow and develop within that company, because when you first start into a role, the company is going to be, if they're good, they're going to be putting some investment into you. There should be orientation, there should be onboarding, there should be trainings that they're pouring into you. So there should be something that the company is giving you. It's not just you're going to work for that company, but they should be pouring into you as well. And all of that costs money. So they don't want to hire someone if they know that based on your track record, which is your resume, you just kind of move here and there quickly. You don't really stay with a company. That's when they can pick someone that has shown that longevity. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me see what the comments are saying. King of Kill says, can't you just say you were in school? Well, yeah, I think with school, I think that's okay. And like I said, anything that's, a few years out of school even, I think it's fine, because a lot of time younger folks, you're trying to figure things out. Now with school, like if you're in college and you're looking at like gaps in employment and job hopping, that's different. So I would say anything that would raise a red flag for someone in college would be very short stints. So not looking at years, but looking at months. So maybe you worked as a cashier for 2 months. Then you moved and you worked at a cashier at this other place for 3 months. and then you moved and did. So that would be a different story, a different scenario, and not as big of a red flag, especially depending on what you're looking to do. Like, I would hope most employers understand that when you're in college, you're just trying to get some money to get by. So typically just explain it, just talk through like, hey, I worked here during the summer and then I went back to school. I wanted to make sure I focused on school. I could manage that workload, or I had to go back to school and it was a different location. So I, had to terminate that, or I had to leave. And what other scenario would come up, I guess? Oh, yeah, if you're working at a company, like maybe you had an internship, just talk about the internship. Like it was a 3-month short-term internship for the summer or during the fall, and then it ended, and so I moved to this other internship. That's totally okay. I think the only concern would be if you literally just moved every month or every 2 months or something. And even then, you should be ready to talk about it. I don't think a company or a recruiter would be like, no, we're not talking to them because they've had 4 different jobs while they were in college. Really, you will stand out for just having a job in college, because that's the alternative to that. For folks that don't do anything during college except study, I see that they tend to suffer when it comes time, like they graduate, they're ready to find a job now, and the company is like, okay, what have you been doing? And they're like, I've been studying. And it's like, okay, well, these other people have been studying, joining clubs, leading groups, working internships, working real jobs. What have you been doing? So I think that would be the bigger red flag for someone that just hasn't shown any work experience. That would be tough. You're right. Job hopping is another concern. Yes, job hopping is like and I'm talking from more of a professional view, but again, if you're in school or you're just out of school, it's not as big of an issue. But I would say once you start reaching that 3-year out of school mark, that's when companies will start to question if you're doing a lot of job hopping. And I understand sometimes you have to shift careers. Just be ready to tell that story. All right, let me see. Oh, my high power was doing good. She can't complain. Ever says you want to hire a person who is going to stay with the company for a reasonable length of time. Yes, and that's the big thing. I mean, again, like the time commitment. A lot of times management, they're taking their time to train someone, or they're sending you off to training. So for example, when I joined a company as a trainer, I actually went off to like 4-day, 5-day trainings. And then my team was training me on specific leadership skills trainings, and all of this costs money. So it would be really sad if they were like, okay, we're gonna pour in all this training into this person, and then they leave in 6 months. So it happens, but just be ready to tell the story if you have done that. Be able to talk about why. Like if you had to leave, here's why I had to leave. Like I was presented this awesome opportunity that I just could not pass down, or, I had planned to stay with the company for a long term, but the job ended up not being what it was originally advertised as. So be able to tell those type of stories. Again, don't say it in a negative light. Just say like, hey, here's what happened. And most people will get it. Let me see here. Oh, yeah, Ever, I got what you meant. I got you. Hey, Zero, welcome in. So we are talking about different job questions. Celos is connecting with folks in here. Okay, so let me pull up Reddit, because there was something I wanted to look at in here. Oh, and guys, just a side note, I will be... let me see. I will be doing trivia. I am planning on doing like the tech trivia, but I do want to recognize Martin Luther King Day. So I might be weaving in some MLK trivia in there. So let me know what you guys think about that. And a heads up, if you are joining my trivia tomorrow, you might want to read up on Martin Luther King facts, so you can be ahead of everybody. All right, let me see if I can share this. Okay, hopefully you guys see. Well, let me make this bigger. Okay, I think this is showing. I hope so. So this question came from a Ray Lex 54. So King Lex says, help with interview question. He has a sales admin role. Let me click in here and see what in the world. Okay. So I always like everything I look at. Okay. I have applied for a job as a sales administrator and have passed the first stage of interviews. Yay. Second stage, I have been asked to create a short 10 to 15 minute presentation around 3 main topics. Okay. First topic, however, is giving me issues around what would be a good answer and how to present that. The question is, how would you go about devising a sales order process? This is not what is a sales order process is, but rather what your approach would be to develop one. I'd really appreciate any help the community can give me on this. I really want the job. Trying to use every resource possible to give myself the best chance. Okay, so let me reread this question. I'm trying to make sure I understand. So he has to, and I actually don't love this. I don't love when a part of the job, you kind of have to do some work. I don't love that all the time, but it is what it is. So their second stage is going to be a short 10 to 15 minute presentation around 3 main topics. So I'm guessing he has to present 3 of the main topics. I think I would just make sure that in the presentation, he actually answers exactly what they're looking for. So the question, how would you go about devising a sales order process? So I would just literally step 1, step 2, step 3. This is how I would go about the sales order process, be able to say, like, here's the thinking that went into that. Here would be the expectation of how it would, or what results would come from it, and then move on to the next topic. So that's how I would go about it. And then just make sure that you're prepared for any questions that they might have in the end about, it's like a mock presentation, but any questions, and then just make sure that you practice it and, say it back to yourself and make sure you're staying within that time frame. So I'd probably aim for 10 minutes and then allow for a couple minutes for questions from the group. But just make sure no spelling errors in the presentation that you build. Make sure you're not just reading the PowerPoint, looking at the audience, that type of thing. And you can use like notes or cards just to make sure you're hitting on all your points. And then that would be it. I wouldn't put a bunch of language up on the PowerPoint for them. I would just literally say the process, have like step 1, step 2, step 3, and that's it. I kind of don't like that because it's like, okay, so this could be a real problem that they had, like they need to build a sales order process. So they're already getting some of that work already from him. And they could literally not hire this person and still maybe use parts of that process. Like I don't 100% love those type of scenarios. But let me see here. Oh, everyone likes, okay. Including some MLK trivia is a good idea. Okay, cool. Well, I will include it. I'm excited. I'll still have it like corporate too. I'll mix in both, but yeah, that will be fun. My Hyper Pro, you're talking to Celos. One of my elders was a freedom fighter or freedom rider who passed away. Oh my gosh, she passed away. I'm so sorry, Zero. If you're still in here, I'm so sorry to hear that. He knew Martin. Oh my gosh. And met Malcolm. So guys, Malcolm X is like one of my favorite people. I would love if I had to go back to any time period, I'd probably choose that, like the early 60s to early 50s or late 50s, just so I could meet him. Yeah, they were friends. Yeah, that's true. And they were actually, people don't focus on this as much, but Martin Luther King and we know Malcolm X, they were very focused on economics, so Black economics. It wasn't just kumbaya, like he wasn't just solely kumbaya, peaceful protest, like he was also like telling people what to do economically to build the community. So yes, I love that. Well, you definitely want to join the trivia then, Zero. Let's see. Good afternoon. Hey, T. Jones. All right, I'm going to look at another question in here. But as far as presentations, just don't give too much information, I would say. Just keep it short and sweet. Let's see. All these Reddit ads. Oh my gosh, this person says, I feel too dumb to have a career. What? I got to look at this. This isn't a question, but I just want to know what in the world is going on. So they're saying, I feel too dumb to have a career. I have a university degree in the social sciences. I've started working as a support worker after graduating. I hope this person didn't get in student loan debt to get this. Like, it sounds like they got like a social work degree. Please don't have gone into a lot of debt for that. Okay, I'm going to keep reading. Hoping to gain some relevant experience while I figure out what to do next. Okay, that's fair. The thing is, I feel like I'm so dumb about things that I won't be able to have a chance at a real career. Okay, so first off, you just completed university, so you must not be dumb. Can't be that dumb to be able to have completed a 4-year degree. And I don't know what school it is, but that's an accomplishment. So they're saying I'm incredibly slow, disorganized, struggle to prioritize tasks. So it sounds like they're struggling in their career and what their work is. And I can't work under pressure. Okay. I've had jobs in the past where I've been there years and still made silly mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I think they're just beating themselves up. I often get told I have my head in the clouds a lot and that I look like I'm not listening a lot of the time, which is probably I said that they look like they're not listening a lot of the time, but which is probably true. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, a lot of meetings, I wonder if people are listening. I think that's not just them. And yes, I'm drinking my smoothie today. Trying to get back to my health eating. I think I did well in college because I can read and write quite proficiently, but I seem to lack a lot of common sense skills. What? Who is this person? Okay, they're like pouring their heart out on Reddit. So let me be understanding. I'm just gonna listen. The job I'm working at the moment is minimum wage, low skilled work. And when I tell family and friends what I'm doing, I feel like I'm met with pity and you can do so much better than that. But the truth is, I feel like I'm just not bright enough or quick enough to do anything else, and also hate the attitude of being too good for a certain work. I have always been this way, but it's gotten worse in the last year. It could be anxiety related, which I have a diagnosis for, but I don't think it's the answer to all my problems. Is it normal to feel like this at age 22, female, or is there something wrong with me? I feel so lost and like I have no real path or plan. All I can think about is my own limitations, slow brain. Okay. So this is a loaded post. I think if anything, she needs to speak with a therapist. But before even that point, I just think this person needs to do a lot of thinking and self-reflection. So she's saying a couple of things now that we know it's a she. She's saying, so she just got out of school, she's in this job. I question the job, first of all, because if she's saying she's got her head in the clouds, people tell her she's got her head in the clouds. I don't know specifically what degree she got out of school, but I think she studied the wrong thing. Because support workers, I mean, they definitely need to be able to listen, I would think. And I don't think she got a social work degree. I'm really not sure what the degree is. I would love to know that. But it sounds like she might be more creative. She likes to write. Maybe she should go into creative writing or, editing or something that's more of interest to her. She really needs to take a step back, look at the things that she's good at, because right now she just feels like she can't do anything. Like she's saying she doesn't like working under pressure. She's struggling to prioritize tasks, disorganized, slow. I will say that typically people that are described in that way that have, organization issues and can't prioritize and kind of head in the clouds, they're normally creative types, which is just not a bad thing. It's just that their brain works differently. They're very creative and they need the time to really think of creative things. So either writing story or art or whatever. So I think she needs to just take some time to find herself. She's in this support work job. I don't know if she's living at home, but she may just need to take a little break and even get away from her family if they're the part was like questioning what she's doing. But I think she just doesn't get away from people, get away from just her kind of menial work, it seems, and really find herself, look at the things that she likes to do, think back to when she was a kid, what were things that she enjoyed, and what do people say about her that she's really good at? What is she really good at? What do people come to you for? Because everyone has something they're good at. It's not that you're dumb. I don't really think anyone on this earth is just dumb. I think you have your strengths and your weaknesses, and you just have to figure out. You figured out what your weaknesses are. You have to figure out what your strengths are. So that's kind of my advice for her. She needs to get away from some people, do some self-reflection, then from there, move to talking to someone that can actually help her, whether it's a therapist. Definitely think a therapist will help, or a career advisor, like somebody that she can trust and open up to that can be in her corner and give her some real advice here. But that's really sad to read, actually. That's so sad. Let me see what the comments are saying. Zero, I may tell that story on my channel later on today. Yeah, it's just on Reddit. So it's under, let me see here. It's under our jobs. So Reddit jobs, I feel too dumb to have a career. And come back and feel free to take a screenshot or something if you need it. But that is deep. That is really tough. Let's see what people are saying. Everett says, sound like she needs a confidence boost. Oh, big time. I mean, she literally sounds confused. She sounds like, it sounds like there are too many people giving her negative. So she's getting it looks like from her family, looks like definitely from work. Like she's saying she's making silly mistakes. So you know how some people harp on little mistakes that you make. I was actually in a toxic work environment where again, everyone's going to make a mistake. So I would either say something in a way that wasn't like politically correct, or I like do like a little mistake, very here and there. Like I will say I'm pretty organized. I try to pay close attention to the work I'm doing, but if there was ever a mistake, it was like, oh my goodness. And then I actually found, working as an HR manager or HR generalist, whatever you want to call it, that there was a discrepancy in one of the offices I supported with one person that looked a certain way. They made mistakes all of the time, had people even talking about them. They were fine. Nothing happened. Another girl makes the mistake, and oh my gosh, it's like big blow up. This is the end of the world. We need to get her out of here. Like just that. So there's definitely differences in how people are treated, especially for her. She does have low confidence or low self-confidence. People can sniff that out. People can sniff it out. And for people that are bullies in the workplace, will definitely harp on her and really make her feel even worse. There are literally people that like to bully others, whether it's at work or wherever, and literally make you feel worse so that they feel better. So I feel like there's a mix of everything going on, and she's getting it at work, and then she's coming home or talking to family and they're making her feel bad. So I feel like in a way I've been there slightly, just with the work environment I was in, because I was in a place where I would come home, and at the time my mom was with me, and she wasn't as positive, and so it was like, oh my gosh. But I just stepped away and had to find boundaries, and it worked for me. So she just has to do the same thing. So I don't know. Anyone else have thoughts on our female 22 friend who is just got a lot of issues going on right now? But she can figure it out. She'll get there. And 22 is a hard age. Like 22, 23, those were just, I don't know, it was just tough. I don't know why, but those are tough ages. Like you're still trying to figure things out, and your brain doesn't actually fully develop until 27. Between 25, 27. Hey, Paolindo, welcome in. Have you heard our story? Did you hear about this poor girl? Saying hi to everybody. Hey, real brother. You're saying perhaps an associate's degree, not social work. Let me see if I can reread that. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what she studied. That's the hang up. Like I just think she studied the wrong thing and she's in this place where she doesn't feel like she's able to really do anything in her career, doesn't like her career. Clearly, if she's literally saying like, yeah, people say my head's in the clouds and I'm not listening and I'm really not listening. I'm like probably not listening. That's not a good thing. You guys saying, hey, listening, great info, awesome live. Oh, thanks, T. Thank you. So no one talks about the Chicago freedom movement when Martin tried to get laws passed to make it easier for Black people to become more self-sufficient. Yes, so that's what I was referring to, like the economics. Like people glaze over that because that's not what they want to be the mainstream. It's not beneficial for certain people in this country for Black people to take back their economic power. It's just not. People say that everyone can win, but yes and no. Yes and no. Like people don't really think that. Talking the story. Oh, okay. You're gonna tell a story. Oh, I want to watch that. Okay. When are you doing that, Zero? Turn off that page, Jessica. We want to see your face. Okay, Paolindo. I'm gonna see if there's some other ones on here and then I'll bring it back up to the big screen. Let me see here. Bro, brother, that's not her. Oh, guys. Okay, you guys are talking about speaking Italian. I'm gonna look for another one that I want to talk about here. But I just made a video. Paolindo, did you know that there's a city in Italy called Candela where other people will be paid to actually move to that specific city? The mayor will pay people. Have you heard of that? It's called Candela. Let me know in the comments if you have. People advertising. Wait, this is interesting. I don't know if I can answer this, but I just want to look at it. At-home jobs for felons. I'm looking for an at-home job, gig, or freelance site to earn some extra money in these times, but have a pending felony. Hope. They may find some luck on Fiverr. I'm actually gonna write on here. You guys can watch me. You may find some luck on Fiverr or Upwork to freelance sites where people and companies can pay for by the hour work. Hopefully I can find it. Okay. I'm just gonna write that on there. But yeah, I don't know. I would say find anything that maybe doesn't check, wouldn't do heavy background screening, or maybe you wouldn't even have to talk about that. Like Fiverr and Upwork, I've been on there because I was looking to see if like I could pay someone to do my thumbnails on YouTube. And there are people that will do that. And so I was like, oh, I could do this. And it literally looks like you can just select someone, they've created their site, and done. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of background checking that needs to be done. So they would never really know that you're a felon. At least that's my take on it. Let's see, forklift stuff. I need to go to Target today, guys. I can't be on here too long. What about this? My first interview. Ooh, first interview. Okay, I'm gonna look at this one, then I'll bring it back to the big screen. First time I'm about to get interviewed for a developer position in a startup. I'm not very prepared mentally. Kind of feel like I've blown it already, but what is with this depressing language today? What is going on? Oh my goodness. So this was an hour ago, this person wrote this. They must be in a different country. San Francisco or San Francis. Let's get interviewed for. They get an interview on Saturday? What's going on? Okay, so they feel like they kind of blown it already. They're not going to do good in this interview. If mentally you're not prepared, most likely you're not going to do well in the interview. A lot of what I talk about, guys, on this channel is about. Okay, back to the big screen. So a lot of what I talk about on the channel is really about mentally preparing yourself, making sure that you're confident, you're comfortable, you're ready to go during the interview process, and that you've practiced. A lot of that comes with just talking and practicing in a mirror and doing things like that, or just knowing. Like, some people are more confident when they know more information. So knowing about the company, knowing what type of examples they want to talk through during the interview, knowing about how they want to present or what information they want to share. And then the other half of that is more of the confidence build, communication, like making sure that you're ready for that part, and dealing with nerves. So with that person, I don't know. I don't know what to tell them. Let me see. Allison, what are you guys talking about in here? I'm gonna bring it back up. I just want to show my face on the screen for a second. So with this one, let me go back. First time I'm about to get interviewed for a developer. Yeah. So, I mean, first interview, normally your first interview is not the best interview because you haven't practiced and you're not as confident. That's just like straightforward. Like, most recruiters know this as well. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but I always recommend having mock interviews whenever you can, because it builds your confidence. It's kind of like taking away that first interview. So that way you've done like 2-3 mock interviews with someone, maybe a family member, maybe a friend. If you want to get some career services, I do those as well. But you should be prepared a little bit and have already done interviews before you walk into your first interview, because it just increases your chances to be more confident and prepared. So that mental hang up like this person has, I mean, come on. You got to get out of that. You got, like, if I were talking to this person right now, I would just say, like, you got to snap out of it. You got to snap out of it. Pump yourself up. Do some like Superman or Superwoman poses in the bathroom or whatever you got to do to get your mind ready and to feel like, I can do this job. I can bring this company X, Y, and Z. Here's why I'm so great. Like, you gotta really pump yourself up and be ready to talk, and not thinking like, oh, I've blown it already. No, that's not gonna work. Let me see here. Oh man, I missed some comments. Let me see. When did Zero? I don't think Zero said when he's gonna share that story. I don't see anything in here. Okay, I think Zero left, but I was trying to see when he was gonna go live, or when he was gonna present. Oh, there it is, 3 p.m. Central. Oh, okay, so he'll be on an hour. I might be a target, but I'll try to catch the replay. Let's see. Oh, so Tasha says, I do mock interviews all the time to better yourself. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. Yes, because I mean, that's all. This person just needs to do a free mock interviews, get someone that in his ear that's really positive, or talk to himself really positive, and they'll be ready to go mentally. That's literally half the battle when it comes to interviewing. Tasha says, learning about the company as well helps a lot. Yes, Tasha, I'm so glad you joined. Yes, that is 100% true. And you know what? I used to ask this question. Like, this was the first question I would ask candidates when I worked at this global PR firm. It's called Fleischman Hiller, but it's they do a lot of communications, marketing type of work for different clients. And I would ask them, what do you know about the company already? I'm happy to fill in any gaps. And literally, people would not know. Like, people would not be able to answer a question. Be like, oh, I know the company name, Fleischman Hillard. And like, literally would be like crickets. Or, yeah, I know PR industry, company. And it was really bad for folks that were not in the PR space. Like, if I was talking to maybe a technical person or at administrative assistant or something, it was like, I don't know, I'm just here for the interview. Like, no, you should know something. Like, even if it's the basics of like, hey, I know that you are in X, Y, and Z industry, you're headquartered here. I did a little research online, but I would love for you to tell me about X. Like, just clean some of those responses up, and knowing about the company really helps. So the more information you have, it really does make you more confident, for sure. Hey, Minister Terrence. Oh my gosh, you missed one person on Reddit just pouring their heart out. They needed someone to minister to them. Really, really needed some help. Like, they needed some maybe therapy or something. But we just looked at that. Let me see. Edward Smart had made a comment. I can't see it anymore. Yes, Edward, that's true. Very true. I might put that in a trivia. I might put that in a trivia. Okay, let me see if I can find anything else out here. Let's see. I have applied. Okay, I answered that question. Ugh. There's like, people are really dealing with some issues on here. I'll look at this one. I'm just curious what this one is. Oh my goodness. Oh, they wrote a whole story. I'm not reading that on here. No. But the title is "How Do I Deal with Thoughts of Being Mistreated?" I'm just gonna leave that. I'm just gonna leave that there. All right, let's see what this one says. This one's shorter. They didn't write a book. All right. I think I failed an interview for my dream job today. My job, which I really don't like anymore, started budget cuts in October. And they refused to lay people off. Oh, so they're probably just in a hiring freeze, so they're not hiring more people, but they're gonna keep their existing people. That's actually not a bad thing. I ended up transferring out of state. I made it very clear that I didn't want to travel half the time, especially during a pandemic. Okay. So I got transferred again. This transfer only lasts for 4 months, and I am miserable. This whole thing started months ago, and so I started putting out resumes. Okay. Found a job I was pretty qualified for at my husband's company. And my HR mind is just like, oh, great. Hopefully they're not in the same department. And he doesn't mind having me around. That's funny. Yeah, the dynamics for being a husband and wife working in the same place is odd. I don't like that. But sometimes it can work. It can work well sometimes. Guys, this company is incredible. They do things that show that they value their employees, and it's such a friendly environment. I was so excited. I made it through 3 rounds of interviews, and they hired someone else. Aw. And they called and said I should interview for another spot. I made it through 4 more interviews. Today was number 5. Oh, those are a lot of interviews. It was a technical questions, and they were hard. One of the interviews turned off his camera and mic partway through. I think I bombed it, and I'm sad, and I really don't want to go to work Monday. I'm back to square one on the job search. Anyway, just needed this out there. Okay. Okay, so a couple of things. I think they're just venting. That's what it sounds like. But I would say when you're looking for a job, you're always looking. So even if you've gotten an interview, unless you're just very passive and you're not unhappy with your current job, or you don't actually need to look for anything different, that's fine. But if you're actively on the job search, once you get a call to interview with a company, the search does not stop. You still keep going on your search, just because you just don't know how that interview will move forward. So this is a great example of that point. And I think I've said that in other videos, like you're always looking until you actually land that job. And even when you get a job, you're probably passively looking for something, just to kind of keep abreast of the market. And, if something did change in your company, you would be able to more easily transition to the job search and looking for something different. So that's the one thing I would say. The next thing is, don't always think that you failed an interview. So they're pointing out that the questions were really tough. Maybe they were meant to be tough, and they just wanted to see how you thought through it. The thinking shouldn't always be negative. And so in this next round, these are a lot of interviews, by the way, so they probably are just burnt out from all these interviews. The questions were hard. At one point, the interviewer turned off his camera and Mike partway through. I think I bombed it. So I don't know if they're relating that to them bombing the interview. There's a couple reasons they could have turned off their camera. Maybe they needed to take notes. Maybe they needed to blow their nose. Maybe there was something that was going to be happening in the background. There's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, you could always ask, if there was, anything going wrong, or they could have had technical issues. Like you could ask them, but I guess don't really see why you should always think to the negative. Like I'm getting in all the negative today on approaching the job search. So, and even if it is the case where, hey, you don't get this job either, at least you're in a place where this company is clearly trying to figure out how you could be a fit in their company. So maybe if you don't get the job now, you might get something some months down the line. So I would just stay in contact with the people that you're talking with. If you have a good recruiter, it sounds like it's a really good company. Stay in contact with them, ask them how you did. You can even tell them like, hey, I struggled with, those technical questions. I'm concerned with how I did. Like you can actually open up and share that type of, stuff with the recruiter or HR or whoever you're working through. If, especially seeing it is a good company and they're trying to make the effort. So that's why I would say this person here. Let me see what the comments are saying. Everyone's saying, hey. Yes, it seems like it'll be a good one. Hi, Shar. Hello, nice to see you. I do not want to work with my... No, I don't blame you, Tasha. So, I mean, people that work with their spouse, when there's something going on at home, and this is when, we're not working virtually, a lot of people, it. Like in places that are, going to be in the office, like if you're working at Amazon, a warehouse, or, in a hospital, whatever, other people around them, they're the ones that feel the brunt of that relationship. So whether it's you're married to someone that you work with, you're dating someone you work with, boyfriend, girlfriend, it can be bad. Like when it's good, it's cool. But even when it's good, sometimes there can be difficulties. So let's say there's this couple at work and, the wife thinks their husband should be a fit for this job. And they're in a position of power or something, and they're pushing and pushing for their husband to get this job, but he's not a fit for the job. That creates bad dynamics. Let's say something happened at home with these two, and they're mad at each other, and they got to work on a project together, or they got to see each other. Like it just creates that friction that makes it uncomfortable sometimes. So this is why I think, to your point, Tasha, like you're saying, I don't want to work with my husband. I don't think I would want to either. I don't think I want to go to work. No, I don't think I want that. Unless we are in completely different departments, we don't ever see each other really, unless we want to take a lunch together or, do some at work. Like, no, I don't think I want that. I don't think I want that either. But some people do it and it works, but it can be a headache for other people for sure. I think, Shar, I don't know if I've seen you in here, but welcome. Glad to see you. So on weekends, I normally go live and I have different conversations. So sometimes it's a discussion about a specific work-related topic. Sometimes it kind of crosses over with work and social issues. And then I will also have this kind of live chat so people can bring questions, anything job-related, interview-related, whatever. We just kind of have a chit-chat. Let's see. Yes, don't work with who you date. Yes, I wish, but people don't believe it won't work. People think the best for that scenario until it all goes south. And then it's like, why are we here? I always say for people that do want to date someone like in their company, I mean, just have a conversation with HR or something so they're not blindsided. So they're not like, what in the world is going on? And then there's other issues that come up that are just, I'm not even going to talk about in this chat, but it's just like, why? Just take it at home. Just keep it at home and don't bring it here. Oh, okay, cool. Well, thank you, Zero. Thank you for suggesting it. Nice to meet you, Shar. Let me see here. Real Brother says, poor husbands, the lovers of their lives want to pretend they don't they don't exist during the workday. Here's the thing. Normally people have work husbands for one. So they've already got like a work husband. I've had a work husband before, or twice. I mean, I don't know. I don't think many husbands necessarily want their wives at work either. Like, what do you think about that? I for one, I don't think I would. I really don't think I would want that. I would just want either I'm at home and you're going to work, or I'm working, doing my own thing, and then we see each other afterwards, and we do something together then. I don't think I would want that. But I too am coming from an HR mindset. Like, I've seen the issues that have gone wrong with it, so I'm just like, not for me. And I also don't like bringing work issues to personal. So I just don't like that whole dynamic. I don't want to talk about work at work, then bring it home. We're talking about work. Like, I think that would be terrible. Let me see here. Hey, Proudly Cloudy, welcome in. Nice to see you. Hey, Percy, nice to see you. Hasha, I used to see couples argue and yeah, that's a thing. Used to see couples argue and come vent to me. I will sit there awkwardly as their spouse is on the other side of the room. You're just like, really, looking at the spouse. I see you. That's tough, because what do you do? Because you have to work with everybody, and that just don't do it. Just please don't do it. Yes, I've seen people who dated and it was a mess. Right, exactly. Mr. B says, lost my job as a psychic, didn't see it coming. Good afternoon. Hi, Mr. B. Welcome in. See, a work husband will be a whole problem. I love work husbands. They're perfect. So can men have a work wife? Probably. I mean, I've seen it all the time. And it's obviously not like really, work husband, work wife. But for me, it's more of like, oh, this is the person you go to lunch with, or they bring you lunch, or they bring you coffee, and they take care of you. They check on you every day at work and all that stuff. So I've had those. I've had work husbands. So it's great. Or you see the dynamic of like the two people in the office where they're just with each other all the time. They go to lunch together. They're talking to each other all day. Yeah, that whole dynamic is cute, but it's not like a real life. Okay, you guys are like husband and wife. You see each other at work. You're going back home together. That's the whole deal. Always have a Tasha says, I always have a work husband all the time. Yes, and you're beautiful. So I can imagine. I am sure guys are probably beating down the door to be your work husband. Let me see here. Wait, what is this? Predictive index review. I don't know what that is. I can talk fast enough during an interview. I can't talk fast enough during an interview. What? Okay, let me find out what this is about. Do you know the experience when you can't talk fast enough and ready to throw out the first answer that comes to you sometimes? Then right after the interview, you immediately realize how you should have structured the answer in a more coherent manner. It's like I just can't think the same way I would think normally at work because it's nerve-wracking. And I don't perform as well at interviews because I can't think and take my own sweet time with the pressure of people shadowing me. Yeah, I can feel this. I've actually had some interviews, and my approach and what I recommend for others, because I'm a person that I'm not like, I guess one of the common things about extroverts is they're very quick. Like, you ask them a question, they're quick. I'm more of an introvert, and when you ask me a question, I need to think. I'm a thinker, so I need to take a second. I need to take like 4 or 5 seconds to think it through and know what I'm going to say before saying it. So my advice to someone that feels like they can't answer the question quickly enough in an interview is to, one, you definitely want to be able to write the question down. So take the time to write the question down so that way you have the question in front of you, so that as you're even talking, you can be thinking through how you're answering that person's question. And then to also say to that interview, okay, so I heard you ask me this. This is what you're looking for. Okay, that's a great question. I'm going to take a second to think about that. That's a really great question. Or you can even say that's a tough question. And then you just take a few seconds to think about it. The silence, I think this is the issue. A lot of people are not comfortable with silence. I am one of them. And I actually had to learn this when I was a trainer. You have to give people time to think and to respond to you. So I'm not as uncomfortable with the silence now, but with interviews, you should definitely take 4 or 5 seconds to think through the question. And so I've done this and it helps me, because then you're not just like blurting whatever comes to your mind, and now you have to you realize after you said it, oh, this wasn't a good response, and you kind of have to backtrack and clean it up, or say, oh, well, let me tell you something different. It comes across differently. Just start from the beginning, take a second, think it through. It doesn't have to be like a minute. You shouldn't be taking a whole minute to think through something, but just take a couple seconds and, think of a scenario, and you can speak slowly as you're saying it too. You don't have to go, well, so that should help. I think that would help this person. Let me see if anyone said anything on this. No one said anything. Better be slow and clear. You are not racing. Yeah. That's the only comment that person got. I may come back and write something in there, but that would be my take on it. Asking about remote work before the second interview. I'm not going to listen to that one. This is cute. What is this? Are you as good as you say you are? Oh, it's a game. That reminds me of Avatar. Wait, is that a girl or a guy? I know, sidetracked. It looks, in the face, it looks like maybe a guy, but then, okay, I'm moving on. What is that? I'm temporarily, what in the world? Why I'm temporarily giving up my career to be a custodian? Why? Please don't be a book. Please don't be okay, cool. What? Okay, I'm not ready to read it yet. Let me look at these comments. What in the world? I'm not ready for that one. T. Jones saying blessings. Been sharing you out. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm a man. I know how men think. Work husbands have secret thoughts and ulterior motives. Men are logical. We don't do stuff for nothing. I 100% understand that, and I still appreciate it. I get it. Hey, bring me that coffee and buy those lunches and bring me these gifts. I don't care about that. That's fine. You can have your ulterior motives. And my dad tells me that. Mom and dad have told me that. That was probably one of the first real big girl conversations my dad had with me. Just like, men are dogs. That was pretty much the conversation. Get the bag and the briefcase. Well, then you do not get nothing over here. Right, you get a smile and thank you. Smile and thank you. But no, I get what you're saying, Percy. But in the workplace, I mean, it happens. Let's be honest, it happens. Okay, I think I'm ready to answer this question. This person wants to give up their career. I have to make the big screen for this. This person wants to give up their career to be a custodian. I have to figure out what this career is first, and then why is the ultimatum, like the only alternative is to be a custodian. So let's see. Okay. I gave up my college career to work as a custodian. The reason being was that I was grossly underpaid. I should be making $18 an hour. I've been working for this company for 5 years. What in the world? What? Okay. I've been working for this company for 5 years, no raise, no full time, thus no medical. So they don't have benefits and they're $18 an hour. Okay. I first asked for a raise in late 2019, to which I was told no. In fact, she was offended. I pointed out I should be making closer. Wait, what are they doing? So college career. I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. Okay. So in fact, she was offended. I pointed out I should be making closer to $18 an hour. Oh, so this person is not making $18 an hour. Okay, I get what they're saying. So I began looking for jobs in my career December 2019. Okay. It's a while ago. Okay. Had an interview in January. No luck. COVID screwed things up. Summer fall applications were no good. Okay. So my meager pay, I needed cash fast. I took advice I didn't want to hear. I didn't want to hear get a job. Well, not necessarily that, but without success in finding a job in my career within 45-minute drive radius, I looked outside my field. There's an opening for a custodian. I had a connection with a hiring manager. Found out today I got the job. Sad part is my paycheck will double in this position. I'm so happy to make a living, but giving up what I love to do is hard. I've saved my county thousands with my projects, but there was never any fair compensation. I still plan to get back into my career in the future. Do I have mixed emotions? What? So people are saying there's no shame in honest work and being a custodian, nothing to be ashamed of. My dad is a custodian. Okay. I just don't understand this. So this person was saying that they loved their career, but they moved. I think they just did something really rash because they didn't like hearing the word no. And instead of being patient, they went ahead and just left and needed to find something that paid more. And it just happened to be a custodian job. So here's my thing. Like you stepped away from a job that you liked. I'm acting as if I'm talking to this person, right? So you stepped away from a job that you liked and decided to become a custodian, but you do ultimately want to go back to your career that you liked. So what I'm hearing from this person is that they heard the word no, they cannot get this increase in pay, made the rash decision, left, moved to a custodian job quickly. And since they're saying they want to go back to their career, they must not love being a custodian. It's not like they just have a sure love of being a custodian. Okay, so they're just looking very short term instead of long term. So my question is, how are you going to be able to deal with the word no in the future? Because you're going to have scenarios where you're going to hear the word no. It's just going to happen. So the thinking has to be, okay, what can I do strategically? I can leave. Here are the options for leaving. I can develop a job search. I can work with, different hiring teams. Why was it that she worked with this hiring manager? So let me look here. Yeah, had this connection with this hiring manager, and the only job that she could get was for custodian work. Why? Is there something else that she could do? I don't understand that. Then why not just look for a company where you can get the same type of job? So look at she was managing like project work. Maybe she was a project manager, I don't know. And then take on that job, because now you're going to have to tell the story of, okay, I worked in this job that I love, then I became a custodian. Like that's literally what I'm going to see. Like if I see your resume or if you're telling the story to me, I'm just going to be like, this is going to be my face. I'm just going to be like, okay, so now you want to go. So why do you want to work here? It just doesn't make sense. So I think people are a little too rash sometimes and they make snap decisions without thinking it fully through. Let me see here. First, Tasha says, why? Right. He could not find another job in his field. Keep trying. Make some connections. Just like that person made a connection with this person that could get them a custodian job, they need to be working overtime or just as much time finding someone that could get them a similar job. And I don't know exactly what the job was. They didn't say, but you left this job you loved and now you're a custodian. So how are you going to get back into that job by moving to become a custodian? Plus, custodians, yes, I mean, the pay might have been better than where they were, maybe minimum wage or whatever, but it doesn't really grow. So it's not like an industry where there's a ton of career growth. I just don't get it. I was a custodian. Do you think they're going to make more than $18 an hour? Yes, to my point, Percy. Thank you. Like, it's not, yeah, you're getting $18 an hour now, but 5 years from now, you're probably going to be making about the same thing unless you become a supervisor or find some type of different, maybe maintenance type of job or something that's maybe similar that you can move into that can pay more. But it's like, what? Why? That makes long term, it makes no sense. And again, I come back to, and I think my generation gets this too. Like, we get the what is it, stereotype of microwave age. Like, we want everything now. We don't want to prove ourselves. We just want to come in and be making whatever 100K immediately. And it's not the case. Like, you do have to put in some work. You do have to be patient. You do have to think through, the no's. Okay, I received a no. What am I going to do from there? The answer should not be, oh, I'm going to leave the job I love because this person told me no, and I'm going to become a custodian. There's nothing wrong with being a custodian, but I don't see how that's going to really help our situation. Let me see here. Get the bag and the briefcase. I was just about to ask that. Yes, Tasha. So that's a good point. Like, what? I mean, you're on a career track that you like, and to your point, Tasha, yes, just stay and build that experience. Yes, exactly. And don't just not ask again. Keep asking. Keep proving. Okay, bringing the proof. I've done X, Y, and Z. Here's what people in the same job make. Here's what. Well, now we can even talk to our coworkers about salaries openly. Here's what X person makes. I should be making the same thing. Like, gather that documentation, get all that documentation. And if they're still telling you no, you need to continue looking for something else. Or even, I would even say, start building out your own clients for the type of work that you're doing. If you're saving people or you're saving your clients money or the business money, get like freelance work or get additional clients or something that you can work with directly and eventually build your own company. Like, there's so many options. I feel really bad that a lot of people out here on Reddit are pretty open. Like, they pretty much are sharing like, hey, here's what's going on. And it's been a lot of negative today. So anyway, I think I'm going to get off of here. It's been a little over an hour, unless there are questions in the comments that are job related. But I answered the stuff that I immediately was going to cover in the video. So earlier I talked about job hopping. I talked about just dealing with and talking through gaps in employment and why that there is an issue and how to basically handle talking about that. And then I also answered the 2 questions I got from my high school friend, which were how to answer the behavior-based question. Tell me about a time when you and a coworker had a disagreement. And yes, I'm reading from the text. When you and a coworker had a disagreement, and how did you handle it? And what makes you qualified for the job? So I've covered all of that, but just want to make sure there are no other questions, because I do want to keep this, job related, live, recruiter answers your job questions and all that. Let me see. Edward says, great live. You're welcome. And I'm excited for tomorrow. So tomorrow, what time is the trivia? Let me see. I'm really bad at like remembering right off the top of my head when each of these things are when I set them. So I have to keep it on my calendar. Oh, okay. So this one is at 2:00 tomorrow Central Time. So 2:00 tomorrow Central, I'm going to have the trivia, and it's tech terms and acronyms that you should know, plus a little celebration for Martin Luther King. I'm going to be weaving in some Martin Luther King trivia questions. So if you want to prepare, read up on the Martin Luther King bio or watch those documentaries. It sounds like we got people that already know in and outs of the history, so that's going to be fun. Let me see. Just scrolling through to make sure I didn't miss anything, and then I am going to be going to Tarjay. Tarjay is going to get a little bit of my money. Okay. Okay, I think I covered. I missed this whole conversation in this chat. So Paolindo was teaching Real Brother Italian. What in the world? Real Brother, that's not hard. Italian people can help you with Italian language. We are friendly. Yeah, Italian people are friendly. When I went to Italy, they were, very helpful. Very, very kind people. Can you write? Oh, Paolindo, I don't know if you're still in here, but I just made a video on it yesterday, Candela, Italy. So I made a video yesterday. I included 3 countries that will pay you to move there, and one of them is Candela. I did spell it out in that video, Paolindo, if you're still in here. Let's see. Okay, I think Yep, I think I covered everything. Right, Paolindo is funny. History, LOL. Oh, thank you, Real Brother. I appreciate you. We've got some creative ideas coming in 2021. Let's one together. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Real Brother. That is so kind. Thank you for the reminder. And I'm glad you came in because I was saying earlier I didn't have any moderators. I was like, I don't think I have any moderators today. So I appreciate you being here as always. And history you lost. So Tasha, the trivia tomorrow, it'll be a mix of tech acronyms, not super techy, but just business tech. So things I think people should know in general, just in today's common technology world. And then I am going to weave in some Martin Luther King trivia. So I'm actually getting really excited. So I did my first trivia last Sunday, and now I'm going to do my second one tomorrow. I haven't even built it yet, so you have a chance. I'm not giving away any specific, secrets here, but you can definitely join in. So I gotta build out the deck and figure out that today. So I'll be doing that tomorrow. Hi, Paul. Welcome in. I am actually going to be jumping off of here. I answered the questions that I had before, like in the title about gaps of employment and job hopping in the first half of the video. So feel free to watch the playback. And then if you have any specific questions for me, like right now, I'm happy to answer them before I jump off. Or you can always leave me a comment, and I'm happy to make a video or talk about it in my next live chat. Let me see. You suck at history. I used to be really good at history when I was younger. Now I don't read history books like I used to. And so I'm not going to be as good at it either. So I'm going to be learning a lot too when I make this trivia. So I'm happy about it. So you're saying, please help us looking for a job. Paul, do you have a specific question for me or specific industry that you're trying to get into? What type of work are you looking for? Because a lot of videos on my channel are very targeted to job searching. So I do post companies that are hiring all over the world. I don't know where you're located, so let me know your location, the type of jobs that you're looking for. And then also if you have a specific question for me. So I post videos about that. I post videos on interviewing, resume writing. I haven't posted some resume writing ones as of late, but I might have to do that soon just to make it fresh. Please, any customer service jobs? Oh my gosh, Paul, I share a lot of companies that are hiring for customer service jobs. You're in London or Ontario, Canada. Oh my gosh, Paul, come on. There's companies you can look at. The one company I would probably suggest to you then, Paul, is Shopify. They're based in Canada. That's one just off of the top of my head that I know of, but I've also posted videos of, it's going to be titled either companies that are hiring right now or who's hiring right now or something. Check out my channel and watch those videos. In the about section, I also provide the links to those companies. Now, I haven't focused too much on London, UK, but most of the companies I share are global, so they have opportunities all over. And I know that there were a bunch that focus on customer service type of work. And then I did provide some virtual or companies that hire virtual people. That was in my last jobs update video. So check that video out as well. And then I'm making a note now to add in some London specific companies. So I can do that. I'm actually going to be slowing down on the companies that are hiring just because I felt like I've seen in my analytics that originally I was getting a lot of views on them, and lately I haven't been getting as many views on them. So I'm going to slow down on them and shorten them a little bit, not providing as many details, just basically kind of getting to the point of here's the jobs, hiring, here's the company, do your research. Hopefully they'll still be helpful, but I just feel like it's a lot of time to edit those videos if it's not really something that people still need right now. So I'm going to be cutting those down and making them shorter, but I've got you written down, London, and then I'll put hashtag Canada. I know a lot of folks in Canada watch too. London, Canada, and then this customer service or customer rep. I would say too, Paul, just make sure you're using different synonyms. Like you could use customer service, customer rep. Different insurance companies are looking for customer service type of jobs too. But yeah, I'll post a video out there for you. Do you have any other questions before I go? Just keep an eye out for the video. I don't know if people always get my video alerts too, so definitely make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit the bell so you can get the notification when it's up. But I will still keep doing that. It'll just be not as like I was doing on a weekly basis. I'll probably trim it to maybe bi-weekly and make sure they're very short so I don't have to spend as much time editing. Because I don't love editing. I like sharing information and doing lives like this, but I don't love the editing. Oh, hey, hi Swaps and stuff. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping in to say hello. Yeah, I met you on OG's channel. Welcome in. We were having some interesting chats over there. Okay, I'm not saying anything else from you, Paul, but again, just check out my other videos. Let me know if they're helpful. I do look at comments, so if you ever have questions for me or want me to look at something specific, just leave me a comment. I do get back to folks on there. Otherwise, I'm going to close this out. I'm going to head to Target so I can get some stuff, and I will see you guys tomorrow for my trivia game that I still need to create. But I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining, and have a great Saturday. Bye.